Well, good morning. So it's that time of year again where it's time to winterize the trailer. So I'm going to make a winterization video. It's not going to be your regular how to winterize your RV video, not really. It's the second time around for me, and it's going to be one of those don't do what I did videos. Seriously. Of course, you're wondering, what did Arne do? No, I didn't wreck anything. You see, while I'm not new to trailers, I am new to trailers with actual plumbing in them. I'd watched a number of YouTube videos on the subject, and it all made sense. Now, I did all the normal things. I started by opening up my low point valves down here, and I drained those out. I blew air through my city water connection, set at about 40 psi. I'm doing a combination of blowing air through the lines as well as, just stepping over a cord here, blowing air through the lines as well as using antifreeze. If you don't blow air through that city connection, you could end up with trapped water in that city water line and it would freeze and burst and you'd have issues. I'm also going to take a look and see whether or not I need to blow water through my freshwater connection, which is right over here. And that will be dependent on whether or not water can get trapped in this line. And looking at my setup here, this is my freshwater fill line right there, right here. I do not need to blow it out because there is no real low point in it. The other thing that I saw that seemed to make sense was to drain your hot water tank. And so in order to do that, you switch your system into bypass mode, which I did. First, you open up the pressure relief valve, then you open up the drain valve, and you drain your tank. Good so far, right? I should also say that because there are so many winterization videos out there, and there are good ones, my goal here is to not remake another winterization video that somebody has already done a better job of doing. That's not what I'm going to do here. My goal is to show you how I screwed up so that you don't do the same thing, because my mistake was in not fully understanding my system.
Because not all systems are created equal,
as I found out. So what you're looking at here is a pretty typical or common hot water tank and valve setup in the normal operating position. You've got a valve on the hot water side, you've got a valve on the cold water side, and you have a crossover tube interconnecting the hot and cold line with another valve in it. And this valve is commonly known as a bypass valve. You can see in this diagram here that the valve on the hot water line is open, the valve on the cold water line is open, and the crossover valve is closed. This allows water to enter the hot water tank through the cold water line and be sent back to the trailer as hot water through the hot water side. Now, when you winterize your trailer, what you do is bypass the hot water tank. And to do that, you simply close the hot water side, close the cold water side, and you open up the bypass valve. This allows the water that would otherwise go into the hot water tank to not go to the tank. Rather, it's diverted through the crossover tube, circulating back through the hot water side, effectively completely isolating the tank itself. But what do you do when it's time to winterize your trailer and you want to bypass your hot water tank and your system looks like this? You see the difference, right? There is no valve on the cold water side, meaning that when you turn off the hot water side and you open the bypass, yeah, water can pass through the cold side to the hot side, but only after you've partially filled the tank and the pressure in the tank becomes greater than that which is in the line itself. But wait, you're winterizing your trailer, and you've just drained your tank, and you've left the anode rod or the drain plug out because the video that you happened to watch said that this is a good idea. You've closed the valve on the hot water side, and you've opened the valve on the crossover tube. Those are the only two valves you've got, so you're in bypass mode, right? Well, before you clue into what is happening, You watch your antifreeze disappear out of the jug as it takes the path of least resistance through the hot water tank and out the open drain onto the ground, while you are inside, completely oblivious, waiting for it to make its way to the kitchen tap. If this is the setup you have, what are you supposed to do to be able to bypass your tank for winterizing? Well, you close the pressure release valve, you put the drain plug or the anode rod back in, because even though this is called bypass mode, it isn't in the truest sense of the word, as the hot water tank is still an active part of the cold water side, which I eventually figured out. And because it seems so inefficient to me, I am going to put a shutoff valve on the cold water side after the bypass valve crossover tube, so that I can truly isolate my tank, because I see value in being able to isolate that tank and open it up, take the drain plug out, keep the pressure release valve open. With the tank empty and the drain plug out, there's zero chance of that tank ever freezing and bursting, which I've seen happen to friends of mine, and I don't want it to happen to me.
Okay, well, the little fitting that goes here and connects to here is not yet attached. The shutoff is on the end of the cold inlet, and it's turned off. It's closed. So, I can now resume my regularly scheduled programming. With my low point drains drained, with my hot water tank drained and isolated, I can now continue with the process of winterizing this trailer, and what that will involve is simply drawing antifreeze through the siphon tube into the 12-volt pump, systematically running it through the cold side and the hot side of each of my fixtures. So I have a kitchen fixture, I have a bathroom fixture, I have a tub. Wait till I see it running pink. I know that's my antifreeze. And as far as antifreeze is concerned, I'm choosing to use a propylene glycol based antifreeze. It's non-toxic, it's food safe, and it leaves less of a funny taste as opposed to ethylene glycol, I think it is. And once you've done that, go along with a paper towel and just wipe up any residual antifreeze, because it can stain, even though it's called stainless steel. And at the end of the day, I barely used over a gallon to do my trailer. I don't have a lot of system plumbing in the trailer itself. And since I'm no longer filling up the hot water tank with antifreeze or running it out onto the ground, it's really quite minimal. Ultimately, the amount you need will depend on how large your trailer is and how many fixtures you have to deal with. You might have outdoor showers, you might have multiple bathrooms, that sort of a thing. This is a pretty simple trailer. It doesn't have a whole lot. Learn from my mistakes, people. Don't put your antifreeze all over the ground. Have a great day.